Welcome back to your Beeswax Apiary. Today we're going to make up some more of our pollen patties. We're going to be putting them inside our candy boards as we showed in the previous video, so we need to make up some more to finish making up our candy boards. And I had a couple people ask what we use for pollen patties and how we make them up, so I figured I'd give you a show today and show you how we do it. It's quick, it's easy, it doesn't take very long, and it takes just a few simple ingredients. There's a lot of recipes out there. You can make your own. You can buy pre-made pollen patties. I think it's cheaper to make my own, and I found a recipe from Cayman Reynolds. That's the recipe that I use. It's worked well for me. The bees seem to take it well, and we've had good success with it. So that's the recipe we use. And what it is, it's 2 pounds 10 ounces of sugar, just regular sugar like we make our candy boards with. 1 pound 12 ounces of pollen substitute. This is the Ultra Bee Pollen substitute. We get this in a 10-gallon or 10-pound pail. We get usually at the Bee Expo every year. We got one last year and we had half of one left over from the year before. So this is about a half of one right now. So we go through about 10 pounds a year with the pollen patties that we make. We may go through a little bit more next year with the increase in hives. But that's the pollen substitute that we use. Use a gelatin mix to solidify it a little bit. Vegetable oil. And then we use Biologics, which is some trace minerals, some proteins, some different things good for the bees. It helps give them a little bit of a boost, so we mix that in with it too. So let's go inside and we'll show you what we do. So our first ingredient we've got in here is sugar. We've got 2 pounds 10 ounces of sugar for the recipe. The next thing we're going to add will be our pollen substitute, which is the Ultra Bee pollen substitute here. We're going to add 1 pound 12 ounces of that. So we'll go ahead and we'll tear our scales off. We'll just use the bowl that we're mixing everything in. That's what the pollen substitute looks like. So 1 pound 12 ounces. This stuff is very dry and will get everywhere if you make a mess and drop it, so. That's about it. Okay, so that's that. We're going to need that later. Okay, so the next thing then will be our water. I always add the dry ingredients first, then add the liquid ingredients on top because that helps knock some of that dust down, because you'll see when we put it in the mixer here it's going to get very dusty. So we're going to add 1 pound of water. Look at our mixing cup. Tear our scale again. I try to get as much of that pollen powder wet as I can to help knock down the dust, and you'll see why when we put it into the mixer here. Okay, 1 pound of water. The next thing is a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. So we've got our vegetable oil here. This is our 1/4 cup, the one we scooped out the pollen substitute with. So we don't need to tear the scales because we're just adding it by volume there. And then the last thing will be gelatin. And the gelatin actually helps form the solidness of it and pack it together to keep it from breaking apart. So that we only need 1/4 ounce or 7 grams. So we're going to tear that. And we're going to switch our units to grams. and it doesn't take much of this. So go ahead and sprinkle that around. 3, 4, 6, 7. There we go. That's all the gelatin we need. So that's all of our ingredients. So we'll go ahead and move all this aside and put it on our mixer. Oh, one thing I forgot. The Apis Biologics. This is an additive I always add to the pollen patty. It provides extra nutrients and proteins to the bees, helps them brood up faster and gives them a little boost. So reading this, you're supposed to mix it at a rate of 2 grams per pound. So since we've got 2, 3, 4, since we've got about 5 pounds, we're going to put about 10 grams of this in. So we're going to tare our scales again. There's 2. This is something I started adding in last year, and I think it helps. I think it helps the bees get healthier. It's got different minerals and nutrients they need. Any extra little boost we can give them is always good. So there we go. There's 10 grams of that. This pack here makes about 50 pounds of pollen patty. So just to give you an idea, we didn't use nearly that much this year. We've still got quite a bit left in there, so it goes a long ways. Okay, now we've got that added. Now we'll go ahead and move our mixer over. This is what I use for making our pollen patties, just a KitchenAid stand mixer. And I use the pastry, not the pastry hook, but the pastry mixer right there. Go ahead and put our bowl on. Then get our hook in. Again, I'm trying to push down that solid stuff. Okay. Put our bowl up. And we're just going to put it on the low setting. And you can see the dust flying off there. That's why I try to always get as much of that pollen powder damp as I can. What we're looking for here, we're going to mix it up. We just want it to get a good solid consistency. You don't want to run it too long, because after it gets too gelled together, it'll put a strain on the mixer. So we want to make sure it's all mixed in good. You hear the mixer struggling just a little bit. That's okay, it's not too bad right now. Mix all those ingredients up together to a good consistency, and then we're going to go ahead and put it in our container and store it away. There we go. That's about all we want to do right there. So that was good. Oh, losing some here. Now, get our hook out. And our bowl out. Okay. Just knock all this off of here with our spatula. Good enough. Okay, now if you take a look at it here, you can see the consistency it is. It's a good solid consistency. It'll form a ball. It'll form a patty. That's what we want to see. So we'll go ahead and pack that away. Okay, so we've got our bowl here. Same bowl that I've always used for putting the pollen patty mix in. Just dump it out into there. There we go. pack her down in, pick up our crumbs. Don't want to waste any. This is just a little bit we had left over from the last batch. There we go. Now we'll store that in the fridge, and that will store for quite some time. I've had some stored in there for 6 months over the winter. So we'll use that in making the rest of our candy boards and things like that. So that won't go to waste. Just last little bit in there. There we go. And that's it. So that gave us about a little over 5 pounds of pollen patties. We probably won't quite use all that in the rest of the candy boards, so we'll have a little bit to feed first thing in the spring, but we'll mix up another batch when we need it, and we'll add some more to them in the spring when we want them to start brooding up. So be sure to leave any comments and questions down below. I'll write the recipe out in the description again, so for anybody that missed it. And like and subscribe to the channel, and let us know if you'd like to see anything else. Thank you.